In the summer of 2014, in a peaceful and elite neighborhood of Westfield, New Jersey, a place where nothing ever seemed out of place, where neighbors trimmed their hedges to perfection, and where children rode bicycles with laughter in their hearts, a new family moved into what they believed would be their forever home. But what they did not know was that the house they had just bought was already claimed by something they could not see, but something that was always there, always watching, and always waiting. Derek and Maria Brodus were beyond thrilled when they bought the old Dutch colonial-style house at 657 Boulevard, a massive, elegant, and historic structure that had stood there for more than a century, holding the memories of countless lives, but also hiding something that no one had dared to speak about, something that had been there long before them, and something that would now turn their dream into an ever-growing nightmare. The house was perfect on the outside, with tall windows, spacious porches, and thick wooden floors that echoed softly under footsteps. But as they stepped inside and began planning renovations, what they didn't realize was that every move they made, every word they spoke, and every light they switched on was already being observed by a pair of eyes that never blinked, never left, and never forgave. Just 3 days after signing the papers, and before even moving in fully, Derek walked outside in the early evening to check the mailbox, not expecting anything more than a bill or a catalog. But instead, what he found was a plain white envelope addressed only to the new owner, written in handwriting that was too neat to be normal, too careful to be friendly, and far too strange to be safe. He opened the envelope casually at first, but with every word he read, the air around him felt thicker. His heartbeat slowed down and then spiked without warning, and his fingers began to tremble as if the paper he held was somehow whispering something directly into his bones. Something old, something wrong, and something that would never let go. Dearest new neighbor, at 657 Boulevard, allow me to welcome you to the neighborhood. I have been watching this house for decades now, and it has been the subject of my family for generations. My grandfather watched it in the 1920s. My father watched it in the 1960s. And now, it is my turn. Derek stopped reading for a moment as a wave of unease rolled over him, like a cold wind on the back of his neck, and he looked around the quiet street, scanning for movement, searching for someone, anyone, who might be staring at him from behind a window, from between the trees, or from inside a car parked just a little too far away. Why are you here? Did 657 Boulevard call to you with its force within? I see already that you have filled the house with contractors, so you can destroy what it was meant to be. Tesk. Bad. Move. You don't want to make 657 Boulevard unhappy. Derek ran inside with the letter in his hand, his face pale and his breath shallow, and when Maria read it, she looked at him with eyes full of dread. Not confusion, not concern, but pure, suffocating dread, because she too could feel that something was already inside the house with them, and it was not going to leave. They contacted the police, and an officer came to the house, read the letter quietly, then looked up and simply said, "This is deeply disturbing, but unless they make a direct threat, there's not much we can do." And those words echoed in their minds like a door slamming shut, leaving them alone in the darkness with something that was smiling from the shadows. The next letter came a few days later, and this time, it was worse, much worse, because it mentioned things no stranger should ever know, things only someone incredibly close could observe, and things that meant the watcher was far more than just a neighbor, or a prankster, or a madman. "I see you've brought the young blood I requested. Once I know their names, I will call to them, and I will draw them to me. I've seen your daughter painting in the sunroom. I've seen your son walking in the hallway. And I know which one sleeps near the window that faces the street. Maria dropped the letter halfway through, reading it, her hands shaking so violently that Derek had to catch it before it fell, and tears welled up in her eyes, not because of what was written, but because it confirmed something she already feared, that their children were being watched, not from afar, but from nearby, perhaps even from inside the house itself. They installed security cameras in every corner, changed the locks, and began closing the curtains tightly even during the day. But none of it helped, because the letters kept coming, and with every new one, the Watcher seemed to grow more confident, more cruel, and more obsessed. The house is crying for the past. The walls weep for the days when I roamed its halls. Do you even know what lies beneath the floorboards? Have you found what's in the walls yet? In time, you will. Derek stopped sleeping altogether, staying up through the night with the lights on and eyes glued to the security monitors, hoping for even the smallest flicker of movement, a face, a shadow, something. But there was never anything there, and that was somehow more terrifying than if there had been. They hired a private investigator who dug through neighborhood records, questioned neighbors, and even examined the language of the letters with the help of a retired FBI profiler, who concluded that the writer was likely an older individual, possibly mentally disturbed, and someone who had lived near the house or in it for many, many years. But the investigation turned up nothing. No fingerprints, no DNA matches, no suspects, and no leads. Only the suffocating truth that the Brodus family was being hunted by a ghost with a mailbox. But even before Derek could calm down from the first terrifying letter, another one came. This time colder, darker, and more personal, as if someone was inside the walls, breathing alongside them, watching their every move with eyes that had long forgotten sleep and only knew how to stare. 657 Boulevard is turning on me. It is coming to life. It is waiting for its second coming. And it needs young blood. It needs you. It needs your family. The handwriting was identical. The style, the same. But this time, it mentioned their children by nickname, the same nicknames Maria and Derek used only at home. No one else could have known those names unless they were close, too close, impossibly close. Their joy twisted into dread. Their dream home now felt like a cage, a beautifully wrapped coffin. Derek couldn't sleep anymore. Each creak of the wood sounded like footsteps from above, each whisper of the wind like a warning of something worse yet to come. He installed cameras, changed locks, and stared at every face on the street, wondering if they were the Watcher hiding behind curtains, silently grinning as he watched Derek fall apart piece by piece. He even created detailed maps and timelines of who was where, when, and why. Neighbors noticed his paranoia growing, but Derek didn't care. His family was being hunted, not with knives or guns, but with a sickness, a haunting that you couldn't escape even when you closed your eyes. Then came the third letter, crueler than the rest, as if the Watcher had started enjoying their fear. It taunted, "I see you've already flooded the house with contractors so you can destroy 657 Boulevard as it was supposed to be. The house is crying. Why are you doing this to me?" Now, it wasn't just a house anymore. It was a living entity to the Watcher, a being, a vessel, and Derek was the villain in this madman's script. He was breaking a sacred law, disturbing something ancient, something that perhaps had never wanted to be awakened again. The family never moved in completely. Maria wouldn't let her kids step inside anymore. They lived with Maria's parents, far from 657 Boulevard. But that house is silent and brooding, gloomed like an open wound that never closed. Police investigations led nowhere. Everyone was a suspect, yet no one could be caught. They questioned neighbors, checked fingerprints, even brought in FBI criminal profilers. But the Watcher was clever, too clever, and always one step ahead. Then the letter stopped. Weeks passed. Months. The silence became its own kind of torture. Was it over? Or was the Watcher simply waiting for the right time to strike again? The Broadduses tried to sell the house, but no one wanted to buy a haunted dream. When they mentioned the letters to potential buyers, people ran. When they kept it secret, they were threatened with lawsuits. Eventually, they rented the house to another family. And yes, just a few weeks in, the new tenant also received a letter. You have brought in outsiders to live in the house. That is a mistake. You don't know what's buried in the walls, but I do. Derek and Maria's worst fears were confirmed. The Watcher was not done. And he was still watching. To this day, no one knows who the Watcher is. No fingerprints, no footage, no identity. Just words, soaked in malice, left in a mailbox like a curse. Some believe it's a neighbor. Others think it's a cruel prankster or a disturbed writer seeking twisted attention. A few believe it's something older, something the house itself invited, something supernatural, ancient, something that doesn't care for laws or logic. 657 Boulevard Street Ill stands in Westfield, New Jersey. Pretty, white, and lifeless on the outside, but on the inside, it holds a darkness no family dares to challenge. And if you ever walk by it, don't stare too long, don't stand too close, because someone, something, might be watching you too. The couple tried to return to a normal life, but every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of the lights, every shadow that danced across the walls began to feel like a deliberate act of terror designed by something unseen, something always watching. They installed security cameras, motion detectors, and alarms, but nothing ever caught the Watcher, not even a glimpse, not even a blur, just silence, just absence, and the constant feeling that they were never truly alone. At night, they started hearing footsteps in the attic, slow, crawling footsteps that stopped the moment someone climbed the stairs to check, as if the presence inside the house knew exactly when to freeze. Then, things began to move. Not just small objects, not just keys or pictures, but entire furniture pieces were found out of place, sometimes facing the windows, as if someone or something wanted to look outside, or watch something coming from the shadows. They found the family dog cowering in corners, growling at walls, refusing to enter certain rooms, especially the basement, where the air felt thick and heavy like a grave dug too early. One night, the mother found a note not mailed, not slipped in the mailbox, but placed inside their bedroom closet. It read, "I am already inside. The walls remember you. The floors know your names. Soon, your blood will be part of this house's story." She screamed, dropped the note, and ran outside with her children in the middle of the night. Barefoot, shaking, tears running down her face, the husband followed, holding only the car keys and fear. They left the house that night and never returned. Months passed. The Watcher never rode again. The house stood silent, but not empty. Something inside it still breathed. New buyers came and went. Some didn't last a week. One man was found passed out in the hallway with blood running from his ears. He claimed he heard hundreds of voices whispering his name from the walls. Another tenant vanished on the third night. The only thing left behind was a video camera, still recording, with static and faint breathing sounds echoing through it. To this day, 657 Boulevard remains unsold, unwanted, and unexplained. No one knows who the Watcher was. Was it a person? A spirit? A curse tied to the land? Or the house itself, alive and feeding on fear? But if you ever pass by Westfield, New Jersey, and feel cold eyes follow you from behind the curtains of a large old house, don't stop, don't look back, and never, ever move in. Because some homes don't want to be lived in. They just want to watch forever. If you like this terrifying true story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. More real nightmares are coming, and they're watching.